Well, gentlemen, we're now in 2019, and we have a couple of offerings when it comes to video game movies.
God, I'm old.
Some people are wondering if we're entering a brand new golden age of video game movies. I'm not sure if we did. Now, 2018, we got Tomb Raider, which did not so well.
Sucked.
We then got Rampage, that did do well. But now we got a couple of new ones coming out. And there's different feelings about both of them. First off, me and Bill have finally seen the first trailer for Detective Pikachu. Now, Bill was not a fan of the game.
I'm sorry, but being spoiled by animes and games like Case Closed and Death Note really kind of...
Yeah, you told me that it was just very childish, very kind of kindergarten, right?
Well, yeah, it's not like it was childish, but it was overly childlike, where it's like, oh no, this Eevee was bonked on the head. We need to find out who bonked it. Or, oh no, a Ditto might have accidentally stolen this person's necklace. We need to find the Ditto that did it and make it give it back. Where I'm just like, you know, when you told me about a game called Detective Pikachu, I was hoping that maybe we would have found, like, a dead Espeon in an alleyway, and like, there's, like, blood gushing from, like, a dead Espeon, and somebody murdered this Espeon, we need to find that Pokemon and bring him to justice.
Well, like, case closed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here you're with Pikachu, he's like, my god, someone hacked up that Bulbasaur and stapled him to the wall. Pika Pika! You're right, Pikachu. Whoever did this is one sick son of a bitch.
Exactly. And I was just like, you know, that's the Pokemon game that I wanted, but I forgot that this is a kid's brand. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, something tells me we're not going to be finding that in this particular movie.
So, yeah, when I was playing the 3DS game, and I still have it, I got to, like, I think level 3, and I was just like, I'm done, because this is not fun to me.
Just didn't hold your interest.
No, because I'm just like, can we get a murder mystery here? Well,
surprisingly, we're getting a movie out of this, which I heard about, but I didn't really think too much about it. So the trailer came out, and it looks like it follows this kid whose father was this great Pokemon trainer, but then he just disappeared. And then he hooks up with a Pikachu who can talk, and he's voiced by Ryan Reynolds, which is awesome.
He's voiced by Deadpool.
He's voiced by Deadpool. And I saw the trailer. First off, Will, what'd you think of it? Now, at first you weren't too impressed with it.
Okay, I'll let you guys talk first, because I have a lot to say about the general rules of Pokemon and the world. And
all right,
so you guys,
George, did you see the Pokemon Detective
Pikachu?
I did, and I got to tell you, the first thing that you obviously take away from it is the visuals. And, you know, they're doing this, you know, sort of 3D CGI version of Pokemon that, I'm sorry, I don't think it works at all. They're trying to make them look realistic, and
fake.
Somehow it completely does not work. They look like talking stuffed animals, and yet all wrong.
It looks so fake.
It's funny, I come from the complete opposite spectrum. This is the Pokemon movie I always wanted. Like, back in the day, when the first Pokemon animated movie came out, I was thinking, man, I would love to see a live-action Pokemon movie. And it looks, in my head, the way it would look in Detective Pikachu. I appreciate the fact that they're just going with it. You know, this is not going to be something that's, like, going to be reimagined as anything super serious. They're just going for it. One of my favorite quotes is from Sylvester Stallone, and he said that if you can't make it good, at least be truthful. And I completely agree with that. And I just love the fact that, hey, we're just jumping right in. This is live action. We got these creatures called Pokemon. This is how they look. They just live with us. Let's just go with it. This might be a really goofy, stupid, silly movie, but that's exactly what I want in a Pokemon movie. Something goofy, stupid, silly, and fun. And I admit, this trailer, it charmed the socks off me. And I can't wait to see it.
Well, I'll admit, it could be a fun ride.
Yeah. Now, here's my thoughts. Okay, first of all, I am completely all for it.
Okay.
The trailer it was funny. But yeah, I do agree with George. Like, it's such a stark contrast Like, the Pokemon don't look like they fit in the reality that we're in. And that's my problem.
I think that's the point. Because they stick out so much. That you get the sense that they really are fantastical creatures.
And that's kind of the problem. And it's the same problem with the Dragon Ball Evolution movie. It's like, this is planet Earth, sure. But this is clearly not the same planet Earth in the same universe. I mean, there are clearly separate rules going on here. The way life functions is different. Because, like, in Dragon Ball lore in general, yeah.
Well, the problem with Dragon Ball Evolution is they didn't go all the way with it. They kind of half-assed.
And I'll get into this.
Go ahead.
But the rules about Dragon Ball is that they live in planet Earth, yes, but their planet Earth is not like our planet Earth. In their planet Earth, they have anthropomorphic animals walking around. They have an anthropomorphic president, like who's like a sentient dog creature. They have dinosaurs walking around, like giant T-Rexes and like giant pterodactyls still roam the land and even own like their own factions of like areas. So it's planet Earth, but in the loosest sense that, yeah. And like even their buildings look different from Mars. Their buildings are like almost Jetson like where so like
it's a hyper realistic, well it's our world with a fantasy twinge to it.
And the Pokemon cartoon or anime or lore is very similar in that the rules of their world is set up to where life functions around the Pokemon. If they have buildings, odds are they have a basement that has tons of electric type Pokemon that are helping maintain the building's power supply. If they have a safari zone or a zoo, odds are it has just Pokemon in it. Pets in general, like dogs, cats, do not exist in the world of Pokemon. It's just Pokemon, period.
Okay.
There are no cows. You've got Tauros and you got Miltanks. If you're in a hospital, odds are you're going to see a crap ton of Chanseys around.
Who says that won't be in this movie?
Because it doesn't look like it. I mean, when you look at... Well, granted, you're right. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know. But just from... looking at the world, it looks like I'm seeing
our real world
with CG Pokemon in it. And I'm just like, it doesn't look like the fictional world. Like if they changed the structures of the buildings, if they made an effort to show us more of the world instead of just like the city setting where apparently we're focused because we're doing Detective Pikachu story. I think. And that was another thing. I was like, okay, we're making our first live-action Pokemon movie, and we're focusing on Detective Pikachu. Why not tell Red's story?
Maybe Red shows up in the end in a cameo. That'd be awesome. I said I'd be geeking out if that happened.
So would I. Like, why not let the classic one be your first story? So you can see the world. Hearing
you two talk about this trailer, and it feels more negative than I was expecting, but it made me think. I think a big reason why this movie is being made is because of Pokemon Go and the success that it had. Pokemon Go really kind of captured the imagination of a lot of people who aren't regular Pokemon fan. I remember when that was really popular, I was seeing people at work I knew weren't into video games playing Pokemon Go and really getting into it. I think maybe this is a movie that those people, the casuals, who aren't so deep into the lore of Pokemon will just sit and enjoy and be like, hey, that's good. But maybe that the Pokemon fans won't like it because, like what's happening right here, they're going to be very hypercritical of it because it doesn't completely match the game.
I mean, if it's fun, it's fun. But I'm just hoping that because it's unlike Dragon Ball, the rules of the Pokemon world is very simple. It's just you have to have the Pokemon function in the world. They have to be a major part of everybody's everyday life. Because that's just how it is. I mean, if there's any modern sciences or modern technologies, odds are there's Pokemon there that are helping with the discovery. If not hands-on usually, but they're usually using their powers. Like, there's schools about Pokemon. There's hospitals dedicated for Pokemon. There's a Pokemon League. There's children at age 10 can literally leave their homes and go and travel the world in searching and discovering for greater Pokemon for the sake of scientific research. There's mafias that are dedicated to capturing Pokemon because of it. So that's the only thing I'm concerned about is that if you want to have it be in this real world, that's fine, but I'm hoping that the real world is centered around the Pokemon, and the Pokemon just aren't in the real world, and they don't do anything. Well, because
the thing is, like,
I'll finish off on it. Yeah, go on.
Oh, like the way that they show it, it doesn't feel like it's in the Johto region or the Kanto region. It just feels like it's in a town or a city. So it doesn't really feel reflective of what we've seen in different versions where they've kind of televised a world. But I think that's where Gene was coming from, where he's saying that, this might be more for the casual folks so that they can actually enjoy, what they might have seen in Pokemon Go or recent exposure. And yeah, that's, the fans who have followed it a little bit more closely, I think if we're going to sit there and say, well, it doesn't match what we've seen, then yeah, we're not going to have a good time of it. But it might actually be a really cute movie.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's also a lot of very dangerous Pokemon that aren't normally found in society. Like, I'm sure you could probably think of a handful of Pokemon like Slugma, who is apparently like a lava type Pokemon. Like, you don't just see that wandering around the city. Like, if there's a Grimer or a Muck, like, people got to be holding their nose and vomiting on the floor, because Mucks and Grimers are in general are like very sewery, disgusting, like horrible Pokemon. Porygons, like Jolteons, like electric Pokemon, like they can just flat out zap you. Electrodes, like, and Voltorbs, like doing self-destruct in a city line. That should be like the equivalent of a bomb going off in a building, and like cops are coming around asking what happened. Did a suicide bomber come in with a bunch of Voltorbs? Like, it's general things like that. Like, are there rules about what certain Pokemon can be in like the city limits? Like you can't just bust out a Lugia or a Ho-Oh in the middle of the city.
Something tells me that Will would be afraid to live in this place.
I just want to know the rules. I'm all for the movie. I'm excited to see it. It looks like it's going to be fun and comedic, and that's probably what they're going for. That's probably why they got Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, and the Mr. Mime scene where he tries to jump through the glass is hilarious. I'm all for it.
Charizard looks badass.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. And that's another one. Like, Charizard, is that safe? I mean, a dragon that can just walk around and...
It looks like they walk into like an underground Pokemon fighting ring. And so that's kind of interesting, because that'd be happening. It's like, unfortunately, it'd be like a real life equivalent. It's like basically dogfighting.
I know, like, Pokemon has always been like illegal dogfighting made legal, and for kids.
Yeah, that's why Peter hates it so much. So I think it looks cute. I look forward to seeing the next trailer to get more information. And so yeah, I'm willing to give it a shot. I think you guys are just. You're willing to give it a shot, but you're going to be more of a critical eye on it.
We're cynical Pokemon fans.
Yeah.
But you have me pegged about right for that, because I think I'm probably going to go see it, but I'm a little worried.
Now, the other major video game movie that's supposed to come out this year is the long-awaited, I don't know how, maybe not.
Choose your words carefully.
Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Now, we haven't seen any trailers, but we've seen 2 posters.
We've seen legs.
Yes. There's 2 ones. One is with him. He's like in a kind of shadow. Silhouetted. And you notice these big... Oh, okay, there's one. And there's another one where he looks like he's sitting on the Golden State Bridge.
Golden Gate
and
Bridge.
The more I look at it, it's almost like the camera is from his penis. Have you noticed that?
But here's my favorite part about that poster. If you didn't have Sonic the Hedgehog on the top of it, and you just looked at that, I'm just like, is that Sonic, or did Marge Simpson just forget to shave her legs?
That's the big thing. A lot of people are freaking out about the legs, because it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be more...
like his
anthropomorphic, more realistic, because the dude, first of all, I will say this: Sonic the Hedgehog, he does not skip leg day. This dude, and in fact, to their credit, the official like Twitter page for this movie made a joke where they actually had a sign, Sonic holding up a sign. You couldn't see his upper half of his body, but then you see his big muscular legs. Like, hey, so what? Our character doesn't skip leg day. Yeah, Sonic has hit the weight room.
He's got a humanoid body, but he's got the head of the hedgehog.
I don't think this is gonna work. Unless maybe not. But think about I would be more comfortable if this was a CGI animated movie, like what they're doing with Mario. They're supposed to be making a Super Mario animated in CG movie. To have a realistic looking Sonic,
like this is it, guys.
I don't know. I mean,
this is proof, guys. Jesus died in vain.
I mean, listen, I am willing to give it a shot. I'm not gonna wait until I see a trailer. You know, but I do admit it does look a little jarring when you, especially when you look at Will's Sonic figure that's sitting over there and on his shelf, and you look at this. I mean, I don't know if I don't think they went in the right direction with this.
Certainly not from a marketing perspective, because when I look at that, I'm sorry, I don't see Sonic.
I just see a guy with big bluey ass legs and no socks, wearing red t-shirts, red shoes.
Like, okay, first of all, like the Payless shoe store shoes. Like
from the producer of the Fast and the Furious. So we're using Fast and the Furious to sell Sonic the Hedgehog. Get it because they're fast.
Great. What's kind of funny is that they didn't have to use those shoes. They didn't even have to use the shoes from the game. Like in Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic nerds know this, Sonic Adventure 2, specifically, Sonic wore soaps, which were a brand of soap shoes that had like a plastic thing underneath it, which allowed people who wore soap shoes to grind on rails, which was a major gimmick of Sonic Adventure 2, is that you could grind on rails.
Nerd! Sorry.
And those shoes actually exist, and they were part of a product promotional placement for Sonic the Hedgehog to actually wear for those games because the shoes were real. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, why can't we just give him the soap shoes?
I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to give it I'm waiting until I see a trailer. I say, though, it does look kind of strange. I guess we're going for a more, like I said, humanoid.
I'll be honest, it looks like...
He looks sexy.
No. That body.
God, how is Amy gonna look?
But it looks like The Rock put on a giant Sonic the Hedgehog mascot head.
He does, kind of.
That's really all it is. It's like somebody also made the joke like it's Sonic Man, because in Sonic 06 there's a guy that's dressed up like Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just a dude, like a buff dude dressed up like Sonic the Hedgehog, and people are just like it's Sonic Man.
So I don't know. I mean, there's not much to judge from the poster, but
there's plenty of the picture's worth 1,000 words, man. And
well, this is it's probably another really stupid, silly movie. It still could be fun. But I like I said, I'll have to wait for a trailer to come out before I make a further judgment on this.
Yeah. I did find out one thing which does worry me a little bit. I double-checked, and it turns out that Jim Carrey is going to be playing the role of Dr. Robotnik in the movie. And that gives me mixed feelings because, okay, it's not that I don't like Jim Carrey, but every time they put him in a movie, and it's like an animated one, it becomes more Jim Carrey and less the character that he's playing. So that's my minor worry.
Yeah. Okay, well, like I said, I have to wait to see a trailer. Yeah, it does look a little funky when you look at him.
Can you imagine Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, and he's hiding inside one of his mechanical machines that he's ready to get Sonic, and then like the door busts and he's like, "It's getting kind of hot in here."
I don't need to see Robotnik's buck naked ass. But does Sonic the Hedgehog really translate to a live action movie, though?
No.
I don't know.
If they made a Mario.
I don't think it will.
They did make a Mario live action movie.
Did. I actually thought, you know what? I actually thought that movie was as good as they could possibly make it for the time period. I still enjoyed it for what it is. But nowadays, if you really want to make something that's more akin to the video game, just the animated way is the way to go. CGI animation is the way to go.
Yep.
So, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, hey, weirder things have happened with Sonic. I mean, Sonic, you know, I don't even know the rules of the Sonic world because you have more human beings and dogs and cats and anthropomorphic hedgehogs running around.
Yeah, like sometimes he's in a world where it's just anthropomorphic animals. Other times you see humans around.
We get an end credit scene, and it's Shadow the Hedgehog, and we're like, "Oh, you are kidding me! Ain't gonna happen."
Shadow's wearing the soap shoes.
Shadow is not gonna be the Thanos of the Sonic universe.
Oh God. Well, he could, because he could be like the Thanos, and he's trying to get all the Chaos Emeralds.
Did you hear about that Gem and the Hologram movie that came out a couple years ago? It had an end credit scene.
With the Misfits. Yeah.
That's the movie I wanted to see!
I know, it was Green Lantern all over again.
Yeah,
with
right.
Sinestro showing up at the end. It's like...
That's the movie I wanted to see!
You had your shot and you blew it.
Right. So, final thoughts on the muscular leg.
It's a train wreck. I can't wait to see. It's just... I feel so bad for Sonic the Hedgehog. He's a character I love. He was part of my gaming...
It's kind of a joke, unfortunately.
He was part of my gaming childhood from as far back as I remember. Like, it was Mario and Sonic. Like, both of them... I didn't have to do the console wars. From a toddler, I had the Atari, the NES, and a Sega Genesis. I didn't have to pick and choose. I had the best of all these worlds. They were all part of my childhood. They all helped raise me. So, yeah, just to see Sonic go down this never-ending spiral of mediocrity and just piss-poor management.
Every once in a while you get a Sonic Mania.
Yeah, Sonic Mania was really good.
But most of the time it's Sonic Forces.
Yeah, and you know what's weird is a lot of people seem to be sticking up for Sonic Forces. And, like, you know what, to be fair, Sonic Forces wasn't terrible. It was too short.
Yeah, well...
And the suspense that they had going on was kind of thrown out the window really fast. It's like, Sonic's dead, he's been captured, and then they get rid of that like 2 levels in.
About the movie, you only get one chance to make a first impression, and I give them credit for trying to roll with it, but I don't think this is the first impression they were hoping for.
No, I'm
in agreement with that.
Because it's a train wreck I gotta see. But wow. Clearly we have not learned anything.